What's going on, along with the TMF podcast? And this video is going to be about bare knuckle boxing. But before I get into it, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's hit that intro. Alright, I want to talk about bare knuckle boxing because I never cover it on this channel. I don't really watch it a lot. I see the headlines pop up in my news feed. Occasionally I'll watch some clips from it, but it's not like big on my radar. I don't pay attention to much of the fighters that are in there. Sometimes I'll say, all right, well, a couple UFC fighters went over there. But it's on our radar because recently a bare knuckle boxer died from injuries they say she sustained in a fight. Now, where it gets interesting to me is that they're saying, well, bare knuckle is really dangerous. It's a lot more damage to the head. I understand that it's dangerous in the event that, knuckles cut people. They get cut up. They get, they beat up their face pretty good. But where I have this disconnect from it being more dangerous than boxing and more dangerous than Bellator or One or Pride or UFC is that in these other arenas, you have so many other strikes that I would, you have to agree, have got to be more dangerous than a bare knuckle punch, right? So you get punched in the face, bare knuckle, it's gonna hurt. It's definitely gonna rock you. A lot of times it does more damage to the fighter punching them than it does the guy getting hit. But in the UFC, we have knees to the head kicks, elbow strikes. All of these are unprotected, hard as places on your body to strike into somebody. And when we look at some of the strikes and some of the finishes that have happened, just go back to the infamous Ben Askren knee to the head. Jorge Masvidal could have come out and taken Ben Askren's head clear off his body with that knee. Somehow, Ben Askren was okay after that. I mean, a vicious, just cruel, painful watch, just KO. That strike had so much force. There's no way that a straight right hand to the head is going to do more damage than that. I just don't believe it. You also have head kicks, Superman punches. I mean, you've got an opponent pinned down on the mat, and you're allowed to drive elbows straight into their head with nothing to absorb the blow except the mat below. These strikes have got to be more dangerous than just straight bare knuckle boxing. So when I see Dana White go on there and get asked about it and he talks about how he's not a fan of it, I understand from the injury aspect of cuts and doing damage and scar tissue and all that stuff, but I don't understand it from the perspective of I can straight head kick you. You obviously can't kick the down opponent in UFC, but there are other organizations that do allow you to kick a down opponent. You can take someone's head, drive it straight into your knee from a standing position. These blows, to me, would carry far more damage than a head punch. So I understand where they're coming from with the bare knuckle thing a little bit to an extent, but at the same time, they all assume the risk of getting in there. And any one of these fighters could take severe damage in the ring. That could be life-changing or could take their life. Every time they step in there, we don't see a whole lot of real serious injuries aside from leg breaks in UFC, which we've had, quite a few leg breaks in the last year. And you see some arm injuries, but you don't see a lot of, career-ending injuries in the UFC. So I'm not really against the bare knuckle fighting. I'm not really against it at all. I think where it's a little bit not so much boring to watch, but it's boxing, right? So the rules of boxing apply, and that's where it's not super exciting for me because I just find the rules of boxing to stop the action a little bit. The hugging, the clinch, and breaking it up, constantly breaking up the clinch. It seems like a lot of work could happen in there, but that's just boxing, and it's just not exactly my speed. But when it came to this guy passing away from an injury sustained in the ring, I thought that's a little don't know. I feel like it could happen more often in that it could happen to anybody. And there's only so much that you can do to prevent it from happening when the goal is to hit somebody hard enough to knock them out, to knock them unconscious, to make them stop fighting. I feel like it's just part of the business. It's an unfortunate part of the business that this guy died. We don't see a lot of deaths. We really don't see many people die from it. We see long-term effects, down the road, but we don't see a whole lot of people really get knocked down and don't get up. Like, I think the guy spent like 4 weeks in the hospital and then just died. And, it could have been some pre-existing conditions that were triggered by this. I don't really know. I'm not a doctor. But if for people who are saying that it's dangerous, well, there's a lot of things that are dangerous. And bare knuckle, if that's your sport, get out there and go after it. Get out there and knock them down. But you assume the risk when you step in the ring to fight these people. This is no different than UFC. To me, you do a nice head kick in the UFC's got to have so much more force than a punch in bare knuckle. That's my take on it. I'd like to know what you think. Either way, they're all tough motherfuckers out there fighting. I support all of them for wanting to do whatever it is they want to do. I'm not going to knock bare knuckle for being bare knuckle. I'm just going to say this. I support all of them for being out there and doing what they love to do. And they all take risks. We all do every day. Look, we all do things that don't seem dangerous, but we get in our car, we drive down the street, and people die doing that every day. And look, I'd like to know what you think about bare knuckle, about UFC, MMA, Bellator, Pride, boxing. Boxing has a lot of injuries in boxing, too, from being just punched in the head. It does do long-lasting damage. But till next time, leave me some comments, and I'll see you on the next video.